Donald Trump wants to reverse Joe Biden's policies on climate change.
I will stop Biden's wasteful spending and rapidly terminate the Green New Scam, which is a total scam.
Which is why, at the latest UN climate summit, there were questions about what Trump will do. On that, Joe Biden has sought to offer reassurance.
It's true. Some may seek to deny or delay the clean energy revolution that's underway in America. But nobody can reverse it. Nobody.
Donald Trump may have other ideas. He's called climate change one of the greatest con jobs ever. He's also said it's a serious subject and that the environment is very important to me. And we're starting to see Trump's approach on this issue. This is his nominee for Energy Secretary, speaking last year.
The only thing resembling a crisis with respect to climate change is the regressive, opportunity-squelching policies justified in the name of climate change.
And Trump has Biden's climate policies in his sights, not least a law introduced in 2022. Biden called it the biggest step forward on climate ever. It committed nearly $400 billion to clean energy over 10 years. It's estimated to have created 330,000 jobs. Biden also took the US back into the Paris Climate Agreement, which commits countries to seek to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. And Biden set new emissions targets for the US to meet by 2030. Trump is no fan of all of this. He wants the US out of the Paris Agreement. He wants to increase oil and gas production. He suggested easing regulations on power plant emissions. He wants to reduce funding for clean energy initiatives. And with the presidency and control of both houses of Congress, he has a lot of power. On Paris, on easing regulations, Trump will be able to do that. But reversing Biden's funds for clean energy is not so easy. 2/3 of that money has been committed.
A lot of this funding from the Inflation Reduction Act has already been rolled out, but there's still so much funding left to really put into play. And so that's what I think he'll be trying to target.
And if that's funding, there's also the energy market. Renewable sources are projected to generate 44% of America's electricity by 2050. This is part of a global trend away from fossil fuels. And that's unlikely to change, whoever's in the White House.
In the past, when the US has pulled back, we've seen other countries pull back. But there's a lot of momentum now in the climate system. The energy transition is underway, and there's other things that are driving it.
For example, this year, clean energy is on track to reach $2 trillion of investment globally, twice the amount for coal, gas, and oil. And as investment goes up, the price of renewable energy is going down, making it a more attractive option.
Investment in renewables isn't only because we care about climate change, it actually makes economic sense. And of course, companies and other public and private actors know that.
There's also a political dimension here, because most of the jobs created by Biden's law are in areas that traditionally vote Republican. And in August, some Republican lawmakers asked for investment in their areas to be protected, saying a complete repeal of Biden's law would be a worst-case scenario. We'll see if Trump agrees. And while he shapes his policy plans from his home in Florida, at the UN's climate summit in Azerbaijan, there was a warning that time is not on our side, that more needs to be done. That includes the US, because despite Biden's climate law, under him, US production of oil and gas reached record highs, and the US is projected to miss its emissions targets. That, though, may not be top of Trump's concerns, and while there are limits on what he can reverse, he does have the power to shape US policy on energy and emissions, and not necessarily in the way the UN has in mind.